एक मिनट भैया। हाँ, एक मिनट भैया।
Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the session today. Right, so due to some technical glitch, we could not find as many number of students as we were expecting. Hence, we are conducting a doubt clearing session today. Right, so this is not your regular session. Due to some technical glitch, there are some issues at the technical end. Right, so this is purely a doubt clearing session today. So if any one of you have any doubts related to what we have discussed so far, you're free to ask in today's session, right? So I'll be addressing your doubts one by one. Please post your doubts in the chat section and I'll address your doubts one by one. All right, so just for everyone's information, one more time, this is a doubt clearing session. This is not your regular session. All right, guys. So I believe all right, guys. So I believe we did not get the enough number of students here, and neither the doubts, right? So not a problem. Still, we are getting a few doubts related to what we have discussed so far, right? So let me just take your doubts one by one. And just to reconfirm to everyone that this is purely a doubt clearing session. This is not your regular session. All right. So uh, if anyone wishes to leave the session, it is completely okay, right? Tomorrow's session will be a normal session. We'll proceed ahead with discussions of percentiles and quartiles, right? Which is part of statistics. All right. So just for today's session, I'm taking this doubt clearing session because we had some technical glitch. All right. So, okay. So one of you here is asking me to explain BODMAS theorem one more time. Surely. So see how BODMAS works is basically, let me just give you. Okay. So basically, so we have BODMAS, right? And BODMAS basically stands for B here stands for bracket, right? O here stands for off, or this is also the order, right? And D here stands for division, sorry, uh, stands for division, right? M here stands for multiplication, and let's say A here stands for addition, and S stands for subtraction, right? So basically, let's say if you have any equation where all these operations are to be performed in to get the final solution, you will be performing these operations in this particular manner. You'll first solve the brackets part, then you'll solve the order part, right? Then you'll solve the division part, followed by multiplication, followed by addition, and finally subtraction, right? So eventually you'll get the final answer, right? So you'll be getting the final answer for it, right? So this is basically the BODMAS. All right. Okay. One of you is asking here about the exponential functions, right? So exponential functions are very similar to your order functions, where the number will be purely your number will be 2.71, which is the exponential constant, right? It is a universal constant, so that will not be a problem, right? And the exponential and the x will remain a variable, right? So you can select any value for the variable and you'll eventually be able to get the solution for the exponential. All right, so this is how your exponential will work. Your number here will be purely the exponential constant, which is 2.71, and x remains your variable, right? So e raised to the power of x, you can easily calculate. right? Okay, one of you is asking here about this concept of square root and cube root. So square root and cube root, I presume, is very simple and straightforward to understand, right? I'll explain this once again. Let's say whenever you are calculating square of a number, it is nothing but a number multiplied by itself, right? So let's say if you want to calculate the square of 2, you'll easily calculate it by multiplying the number with itself. So here, since we are trying to calculate the square of 2, so we'll simply multiply 2 with 2, right? In the similar way, if we want to calculate square of 5, we'll simply multiply 5 with itself, right? So this will be 5 into 5. Eventually, you will be getting the answer as 25, right? In the similar way, if you calculate the square of, let's say 10 maybe, right? So this will be 10 multiplied by itself, right? So eventually you'll end up getting the answer as 100, right? In the similar way, if you want to calculate the cube of a number is basically a number which is multiplied by itself 3 times, right? So let's say if you want to calculate the cube of 2, it will be 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. So we are multiplying 2 3 times, right? So eventually you'll end up getting 8 here, right? In the similar way, let's take one more example. Let's say if you want to calculate the cube of maybe, let's say 7, right? So we'll eventually multiply 7 with itself at least 3 times, right? So not at least, but exactly 3 times, right? So this is eventually 343. You can do the maths and you'll eventually get this answer. In the similar way, let's say if you want to calculate the cube of 10 here, right? So how you'll calculate is by multiplying 10 3 times, right? And eventually the answer that you'll be getting will be 1000, right? So this is how you can easily calculate squares and cube of numbers to get the answers, right? And let's say at the same time, if you want to take the square root of a number, these are these are squares, right? You can also take square root, which means if you are given, let's say the final answer is given here as 4, you want to take the square root of this number, you have to find a number which you can multiply by itself to get the final answer as 4, right? So if you want to take the square root of 4, you'll end up getting 2 as the output, right? So let's say square root of a number, right? The square root is basically you have to find a number. Let's say find a number such that if you multiply that number with itself, you will end up getting the output, right? So let's say I want to calculate the square root of, let's say 25. I have to find a number which I can multiply with itself to get the output as 25, right? So 5 is the answer here because 5 into 5 is 25, hence square root of 25 is 5. It is just a reverse operation of square. In the similar way, cube root is also a reverse operation of cube, right? So this is how you can easily calculate, right? So this is how you can easily calculate these outputs. All right, so this is with cube and cube roots, square and square roots, BODMAS, and exponential functions. All right, so let's look for more doubts here. Okay, so if we have a large table and we want to find something, then how is it possible to find in one step? So basically, if you're working on a large table, there are various type of search operations that can be performed, right? So we'll be Of course, there are operations or there are functions to do that. There is something called as regular expressions that you learn in the uh, data cleaning part, right? So regular expressions is one of the prominent libraries that can be used to find anything into the entire table, right? So don't worry, when the right time comes, we'll discuss about it. All right, so explanation of descriptive and inferential statistics. So in descriptive statistics, we will basically find the basic description of the data, right? The data that we are working on will simply find the basic description. When we talk about basic description in terms of statistics, we'll basically find out the mean, median, mode, percentiles, percentages, quartiles, right? We'll also find, let's say, outliers and additional things. These are part of descriptive statistics, right? At the same time, inferential statistics will help you to establish the relationship between your columns. Since I hope everyone can understand that every table has rows and columns. So rows will hold the records and columns will hold the individual functionalities or individual features, right? So the relationship between these features or between the columns is basically the part of inferential statistics, right? So we'll discuss the inferential statistics, correlation and covariance in the initial statistics and Excel sessions. And apart from this, the implementation of this will be seen when you'll be covering the data analysis part, right? So this will help you to basically establish a very good understanding and implementation of how both type of statistics can be used. All right, guys. So let's see more of the doubts here. Let me see what all doubts. All right. So guys, for any, let's say operation related or non-technical issues, please connect with your career coach team. I think I've already, I've already informed this in your first session itself, right? All the non-technical or non-subject related queries, please do not ask in your live sessions because anyway, I'm not the right person to answer those queries, right? So your career coach team will be able to help you on that. So if you have any doubts related to, let's say, how to check your attendance, how to, related to various things which is non-operational or basically non-technical or non-subject related. So please connect with the career coach team. They will be able, basically they are the best person to answer that particular query. All right. So, okay, one of you is mentioning we haven't discussed bond mass and exponentials. I believe we have already discussed in the previous session itself, right? Okay, so one of you here is asking about what portion of mathematics and statistics you should cover, just for the basic idea. So I'll just give you this, let's say all the until 10th standard mathematics is mandatory for you, right? This will help you to establish the basic foundation of mathematics. And once you have established the basic foundation, you'll be able to understand the machine learning concepts. You'll be able to understand the data science and, or let's say data analysis related concepts very clearly, right? So up till 10th standard, how basic operations are performed, right? How addition is performed, what are the properties of addition in the similar way, how division, multiplication, subtraction is performed, right? What is an order function, what is an exponential function? All these are basically covered in until your 10th standard, right? So if you cover the basic maths up till 10th standard only, you'll be able to establish a very good foundation for your data science, right? Rest all other things we'll discuss in the live sessions. We'll try to cover everything from scratch, right? So that will absolutely not be a problem. Just for understanding the concepts in a better way, You just need to have the basic idea of how mathematics work. Right. So, okay, let's take more doubts here. So about the power function is basically when you simply write a raised to the power of b, right? So these are basically the power functions where a is a number and b is the power, right? So let's say if you write a raised to the power of b, this simply means you're trying to multiply a b number of times, right? So for example, we can take the square of example only. Here the number is 2 and the power is also 2. So we are multiplying 2 times, right? Let's say if we are trying to calculate the square of 5, here the number is 5 and the power is 2, right? So we are multiplying 5 2 times. In the similar way, when we are trying to calculate cube of a number, we are basically, let's say if we are trying to calculate cube of 2 here, right? If you're trying to calculate cube of 2 here, we are multiplying 2 3 times, right? So this is nothing but 2 raised to the power of 3, right? Cube of 2 or cube of any number is written as number raised to the power of 3. So the power is 3 here and the number is, let's say 2, 7 and 10 respectively, right? So in the similar way, number and power can hold any value, right? Can hold any value. And once they hold any value, you'll be able to easily find the output, because a raised to the power of b basically means you are trying to multiply a b number of times, right? So here, let's say if you're trying to calculate cube of 2 here, so 2 is a here, a is 2, all right, and b is 3. So we are basically multiplying a b number of times. So since a is 2 and b is 3, hence we are multiplying 2 3 times, right? So this is your power functions. All right, so one of you here is asking about what practice you should do for Excel this week. So basically, we have only covered the basics of uh, Excel, right? Basics of mathematics, only addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, all these operations, right? So whatever we have discussed in the live session, simply replace the numbers with some other number so that you'll be able to practice enough. And once you are able to practice enough, you'll be able to uh, get hold of the concept that we have already discussed in the previous sessions. All right. So, okay, one of you is asking what is the use of statistics in data science. So, statistics forms the basic foundation of data science. Everything that you're going to learn in data science or machine learning is part of statistics only, right? It is only the computational power that is given by data science or basically the machine learning, right? It is completely the statistics that we are going to discuss, and machine learning is nothing but statistics at a very large scale. All right. So yes, percentiles we'll be discussing in the coming sessions. All right. BODMAS has already been done. We have already, and in this session, we have revised that as well. Right. So let's take more doubts here. All right. So let me see. So, okay, one of you is asking, are we going to do data visualization in Excel? So yes, we are going to do a few parts of data visualization in Excel, like the bar plot and pie plot, right? Rest of the visualization will be covered in data visualization in Python, right? All right, guys. So if anyone has any more doubts, you're again free to ask, right? If anyone's doubt is left unanswered, please repost your doubt. I'll be addressing your doubts, right? So the difference between partial and fixed references will be discussed in covariance. All right, when covariance will be discussed in Python, we'll discuss the partial and fixed reference. Right. So guys, I've already mentioned these today's session. In today's session, we are facing some technical glitch, which is why, right? So which is why we were not able to continue the session, right? And this is the only reason we are conducting this doubt clearing session. All right. So you'll have these kind of doubt clearing sessions from time to time. If let's say if you have any doubts while practicing what we are discussing in the live sessions, you're free to collect all your doubts and you can ask them in the doubt clearing sessions. This will eventually help you to resolve all your doubts and cope up with the ongoing pace of the session. All right, guys. So I'm waiting for more doubts to come up, right? And okay, one of you here is asking about the VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP will be discussed in your advanced Excel. Advanced Excel is one of your electives, right? So this will be discussed in your elective sessions, VLOOKUP. All right, all right, guys. So again, how many electives you can select and what is the procedure of selecting the electives? We'll discuss this separately when the right time comes. Right, we'll have a complete orientation session for electives, which will help in which will guide you what are the let's say what are the importance of various electives in the data science industry, and this will eventually help you to the select the electives based on your interest and the area of interest, the kind of specialization that you want to do in data science, right? So since I hope everyone is well aware that data science is very vast, it's very vast, right? So eventually specialization will be carried out once your elective phase starts. Okay, so will there be assessments after each module? So yes, you'll be getting the assessment so that you can practice what we are discussing in the live sessions, and this will eventually help you to build hands-on experience of the concepts, right? So concepts are important. See, theoretical knowledge is important and practical implementation of the theoretical knowledge is also important, right? So which is why you'll eventually once you understand the concepts and once you let's say do good hands-on practice, you'll be able to cope up with the concepts. All right, guys, we can completely understand that some of you are not really happy with this, with the technical glitch that we face today. But I'm sure everyone is well aware that these are technologies and these can go down anytime unexpectedly, right? So this is one of the situation that happened today, right? So it's basically a technical glitch that has happened, and presuming that this will not happen again, right? So I'm sure like every one of you is using laptop or a mobile phone or some external website, right? These also go down from time to time, right? These are basically let's say broadcasted through servers, right? And servers may go down anytime. So this is an unexpected situation that happened today, right? So it's like expected for every one of you to understand this situation, because your laptop can also hang, and even your, let's say, websites, the best of the websites like the Google or YouTube, they also go down from time to time. All right, guys, I'm waiting for more doubts to come up. Let's say if you have any more doubts, you're free to ask in the chat section. All right, guys. So this square root is basically, one of you is asking about the square root part once again, right? So square root is basically the reverse operation of a square, right? How division is reverse operation of multiplication, how subtraction is reverse operation of addition. In the similar way, square root is a reverse operation of square, right? So let's say if you want to calculate the square root of 5 or square root of 25, you'll have to find a number which you can multiply by itself to get 25, right? So the 5 is the number, right? So this is how square root can easily be found out, right? We have like for square root and squares, we have directly functions in Excel. We'll discuss about this. All right. Right, guys. So we are waiting for more doubts to come up. Right. So if you have any doubts, you're free to ask. Right. Since this is purely a doubt clearing session, we'll not be discussing anything new in this particular session. Right. From tomorrow onwards, we'll be discussing new topics followed with percentiles and quartiles in tomorrow's session. All right. So when will your Python coding start? So basically, in the initial, let's say, I'll be taking your statistics and Excel sessions. This will be followed by programming foundation, where you'll learn how any programming language works, how you can build logics in programming, how you can implement your thought process into uh, by using basically coding, right? And the coding language that we'll be using is Python, right? And after that, you'll have your SQL sessions. After that, you'll start with Python, right? So this is almost 1.5 months from now when your Python sessions will begin. Right. So this will be from, let's say, week 7 or week 8, your Python sessions will start to begin. All right. So one of you is asking if you write 20 to 8 in a cell, it basically prints out date automatically. So you can basically change the formatting of the number. I hope you followed when in the last session we changed the formatting of number from a normal number to percentage, right? In the similar way, you can change the formatting of any particular cell, and there are multiple types of formats available, right? So I've also walked you through in the previous sessions how various formats can be embedded into a particular cell. Right. So I hope with everyone, you have already got the course curriculum, right? You can follow that particular curriculum to get an idea when exactly your Python or machine learning will begin. All right. So we are basically discussing the topics or concept wise, right? So like in the previous session, we discussed about the normal arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, followed by power functions, exponential functions. We also calculated the percentage, how you can calculate sum of a range of cells, how you can calculate percentage, which is partial fraction of the complete whole, right? And in the next session, we'll be discussing about the percentiles. Percentiles is basically, you must have seen those who have appeared. There are multiple, let's say, exams, competitive exams, whose results are declared in the form of percentiles, right? And these percentiles give you a basic idea about, let's say, the score that you have received or you have achieved. That score is higher than what amount of or what ratio of people those who have appeared in that particular exam, right? So this is the basic idea of percentiles. And there are some exams like CAT, which is an entrance exam for MBA, right? Which is a common admission test. The result of CAT is declared in the form of percentiles, right? And even, let's say, those who are working professionals, you can basically get in touch with your HR to get the percentile in which your salary falls into. This will give you an idea uh, out of the complete employees who are working in your organization. Let's say your HR says that you have received or your salary falls into 30th percentile. This basically means 30% of the employees are receiving less salary than you, and 70% of the employees are receiving more salary than you. This is exactly what 30th percentile basically means, right? So we'll discuss this in detail in the upcoming sessions, right? And this will give you a brief and detailed idea about how percentiles work. And percentiles are one of the most important topics in data science. Right, so we'll be discussing about percentiles and quartiles. Quartiles is just an extension of percentiles. When we'll be discussing percentiles, we'll also discuss about quartiles. All right, so yes, guys, since we are not receiving any more doubts, I believe we can wrap up with this session. And from tomorrow onwards, your regular session will begin. We'll discuss about the percentiles and quartiles in the next session. All right, so if anyone of you wants to go through before attending the session, you can go through the way I've told you in the first session, how you can search for any particular topic on platforms like Medium and Towards Data Science, right? Simply write the name of the topic followed by Towards Data Science or Medium on Google, and you'll find relevant links, right? So Google's PageRank algorithm will help you to establish the links over there. All right, so yes, guys, thank you everyone for joining this session. And once again, it's very, these are technologies, these can go down anytime. So although this is not a very frequent thing that is happening, but since it has happened in the initial phase of your sessions, right? So I can completely understand this has bothered a few of you, right? So this won't be happening again, right? So with this note, we are wrapping up the session for today. And thank you everyone for joining this session. And from tomorrow onwards, your regular sessions will begin, right? So thank you everyone and have a good night.